started without me. Hello everybody, it's Anita O'Neill here from Ubrink Studio. Hang on a minute while I just adjust this other camera and I'll show you what we're going to be doing. But at the moment it's not really pointing at anything, is it? Here we go. I think that might be as good as we're going to get. Okay, hello, sorry for the messing about. Today I'm going to show you how to make these lovely little fabric bowls. Okay, this one isn't completely finished because I've only tacked the top down. I haven't actually finished stitching it, but the bowl itself is made and it's like a dinky little thing like that. And we're going to be using these hooked spaghetti rolls, which I really love, and they're easy to use, easy to make with them. Once you know the technique, you can make any type of bowl, or let's just move that a little bit, there we go, any type of bowl or a bag or a rug, and you name it, you can make it with it. So I'm going to use this one here because I've basically got it out. I'm also going to use some of this. So this is piping cord, nice thick one, which fits quite nicely into this. Excuse me. Now when I'm using one of these, trying to get this, I pull it out from the middle, not from around the outside. And my reason for that is it doesn't get as tangled up as much. Now this is going to go on the floor this way up, so that I'm pulling this out. I'm trying to get this so you can see it. So I'm pulling this out this way. Okay, so this is coming on the floor on my right hand side. And the reason for that is it's easier for the machine if you're machining that way round, because it can get a bit complicated sometimes. Okay, and then the piping cord is going to the back of the sewing machine, so it's going to come through from the front to the front. So I'm going to shove that under there. Okay, so I've got one coming up from below and I've got one coming up through the machine. Right, so that's where we're going at. The machine, I'm going to put on a zigzag, and I'm going to increase the zigzag I think to a 4.5 maybe. Okay, so that's my settings on my machine. I've taken off I don't know what you call it, the base bit. Do you know, my mind's just gone blank. Anyway, I've taken it off, and to start with, I'm actually going to put on a quilting table, which is here. And my reason for that is, to start off with, it's much easier to have it flat, because what we want to do is have a flat bit to start with, and then we're going to tip it up to turn it into a bowl. So that's how that's going to work. All right, so let's make sure we've got no tangles in this as we're going. All right, and sorry for bashing the camera. So the first thing that we need to do is you need to uncurl this a little bit, so just open it out. All right, it's nice and stretchy this, so it's quite easy to do. Now the first bit is the hardest. This is the most fiddliest bit going. Bring that down a bit. Do I need to turn it a tad? If I knock it over, I'm ever so sorry, you'll probably go flying. Okay, so because we've got one of these at the front and one of these at the back, we know we're not going to get all tangled up, right? So all we're going to do now is pop this in here. But if you see, I haven't gone right to the end with that. Let the camera zoom in. So it's not gone right to the very end. And the reason being is it can be quite difficult to start it. All right. Fold it over. And there are two ways that you can do this. So what we need is a really nice tight coil to start off with, really, really tight. We're going to make that, and we're going to coil it around and coil it around, okay, and then we're going to stitch. So I'm now going to put my machine back to a straight stitch, and I'm going to coil that around for a little bit more, not letting go. This is the worst bit. Once you get past this middle bit, it's easy. Okay, we've got to make sure it stays flat. I'm not sure if you can see that as well as, because for me that's all fuzzy, but I'm hoping you can see that's nicely coiled. And then all I'm going to do is stitch across there and across there. And this has to go under the machine like this. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Oh, my foot's just come off. That's not good. Why have you done that? Okay, let's just coil that round again. We're doing that sewing machine. I can't be having your feet dropping off like that. Some people will pin this, and some people use those clips that you can get for quilting. You know, it all depends really on what you want to do. But I am just going to hold that and stitch across it, hopefully without the foot falling off the machine again. Mind your fingers when you're doing this. So that's one side. Now I'm going to come across it the other way. And this is literally to hold it in place before we actually start doing the zigzagging on it. And there we go. Okay, so that's what we've got. So I'm just going to trim off these threads, because as you're going around on the zigzag, if you're not careful, what's happened here? If you're not careful, they'll get caught in the machine, and that's the last thing that you need. And that's there. And these are very quick to make, by the way. Not like last week's, which went on forever, I know. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the machine back to zigzag. Okay, so I've got this set. If you've got a faff, this is set on number 5 zigzag, and then I've increased the size of the stitch to 4.5. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start in the middle, and then we're going to zigzag out and around, and then as we go we're going to bring this into here. So just unroll it, it will fit in like that, and then as we go we will roll it and stitch at the same time. So I hope that makes sense, but as you'll see, this is the best angle we can get the camera to see this, so I'm hoping you'll be able to see it okay. So I'm going to start in the middle, and then bringing it round. It's got stuck. Come on. Round you go, round you go. Come on. Thank you. So as you see, it can get a bit tricky, but now we leave the needle in and open up the spaghetti, lay the core in. You can use anything as a core, anything at all, including washing line, so long as it hasn't got that wire through it. Anything. And you don't have to use this spaghetti stuff either, it's just that it's easier. There are other ways of making these, which are not as easy as this. But I wanted to show you an easy way. Take your time to start with. Then as you go round, encourage it round as you go. And this is the base of our basket or bowl. So you make this as long as you like. So depending on how big the bottom is, depends on how big a bowl that you make. You can make them square, oddly enough. You can make them oval. You can make bags out of them. Lots of people use this stuff for knitting and crocheting, and I've seen lots of crocheted and knitted bags with it. But you can make bags this way too. I am considering putting a workshop on for this in the new year at some point. There we go. A little tip here is, if you have a foot, where did I put that? Hold on a minute while I just grab something. So if your feet on your sewing machine have got markings on, if I get that right up close, do you see the markings? So on this particular foot, that middle line is where the machine is going to stitch on straight stitch. But on a zigzag, it would fit, the zigzag would go between those two red lines if I was using this foot. But that middle line there would be the centre line for the stitching, so I don't quite know if you can see it very well. So you can use that to line up your centre, which is what I'm doing on this one here. So as I'm putting this round, I'm making sure that where this is butting up to the round bit I'm sewing, the middle stitch line is on there. And I don't know if you can actually see that from where I'm sewing. So I wish I could get the camera a bit closer, but I don't think I can. Jonathan had a good look at it earlier and he said this was the best he could do. So pull this out as much as you need it and pull this up as you need it. Don't let the two get tangled. Always stop with your foot down, never ever stop with the foot up, because once it's come out you're in trouble. Can you see? If I do that, probably be better if I had beautiful, elegant, long hands, but I haven't. I've got little fat sausage fingers that are all wrinkly, so they do tend to get in the way of things. So if I can explain this, my left hand is turning this as I'm sewing and my right hand is guiding this bit, okay? So the left hand is turning it and the right hand is guiding it through. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm keeping it flat because this is the base. But you can make coasters, I nearly said posters then. You can make coasters, you can make placemats as well. Anything with this, it's fabulous. Little rugs. If you do like a rug that's not too big, so like a bath mat or something, then you can chuck it in the washing machine as well every so often, which is just as good. Okay, so that's the next bit. Take your time with it, don't rush it. Because when it's going well, it's brilliant. But if something happens and it messes it up, you have to undo quite a bit. And I am talking from experience on that one. So you just keep on going. Now, depending on how big you want your bowl will depend on how big a base you want to do. But that comes with experience, really. If you've not made these before, you need to practice a bit before you start going for the bigger stuff. You also need to decide on how deep you want the sides of your bowl, because that's all down to how much you tip it when you go into starting to do the sides. When you get very good at it, it's quite nice to use a contrasting thread as you go. But unless you're really proficient with your sewing machine, I wouldn't attempt that to start off with. Okay, so we're still keeping this flat. So now you can see why it's a good idea to have the table here, because if we were coming off the edge of this, this would start to bow. And I'm not ready for it to do that yet, because I don't want to do a bowl just yet. Just go a bit further. Oh, bobbin's going to run out. That's bad planning. I should have made sure that I had enough in that. I mean, obviously it's not the end of the world, but also it's not ideal. Keep going until that runs out now, I think, and then we'll start going up the sides. You can see how quickly that's growing. Still got a bit more in there. Right, I'm going to stop now and have to do the bobbin, I'm afraid, which is a pest. But but there's not a lot I can do about that. Excuse me while I stretch over the camera. Not really what you want to see, is it? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the thread, but I'm leaving the needle down. And then we'll just thread this up so that we can fill up this bobbin before I take the other one out. Now, although that's lifted the foot up, the needle is still down. That'll do. I'm going to put that down and lift the foot up so that I can rethread the machine. Apparently you can with these machines, I'm told. Thread it up, fill the bobbin up from the needle. It's not something that I've ever done, and I don't think I'm ever likely to do. I don't know, it doesn't fit very comfortably with me. Okay, so now with a bit of luck, she says, we can carry on stitching. What I will do is bring it in, and then I will back stitch it just slightly to make sure that hasn't gone a bit awry. Oh, and it did. I've got a few threads hanging out there, but I'll deal with them at the end. Right, let's carry on. So now I'm thinking I'm going to want to start bringing this up. And all you do literally is tip it. Okay, so at the moment we're just going to, it's flat. At the moment we've got a flat one, haven't we? Right, but we're going to just bring it up a little bit. Just encourage it. It will want to do it on its own, but just encourage it. So, hello Sandra. One of these. Little bowl. You can make them any size you like, and hopefully you'll enjoy. I'm sorry you missed the beginning bit. You'll have to go back and watch that later. Or the next time you come round I can show you. Right, so this, I'm tipping this up slightly now. Because I want it to start to curl up a bit. But only slightly. Then as we go round, I will tip it up even more as we go. So I was saying, Sandra, thank you. I was saying, Sandra, that you can make these as big or as small as you like. We're using the spaghetti, hooked spaghetti stuff. Okay. And in the middle, the core is just piping cord. So the piping cord is through the back of the machine here, and the spaghetti stuff is on the floor. And I've pulled it from the centre, so the two don't get mixed up and start curling round each other and making a mess. And because this stuff it's recycled cotton, it's t-shirts and things like that they've recycled. And it automatically rolls in on itself, so it's perfect for putting a core in. And you can use any core at all that you like, including washing line, so long as it's not got the wire in it. Can you see how our bowl is beginning to emerge, as they say? If you wanted to, you could make these as tall as you like, so they could be like little vases and things like that, but I wouldn't put anything wet in it, of course, unless you're going to line it with plastic. Why, thank you, Sandra. I've got a bit here that doesn't want to curl round it. Can you see, as I'm going round, I'm holding this, I'm encouraging it to curl up, because that's what I want it to do, because I'm now coming up the sides of my bowl. If you were going to make these into a bag, you would do a bigger base before you came up the sides. And of course you would line it, and you could put pockets in too. Oops. And it can go in the washing machine, this, so if you do decide to make yourself coasters or placemats, but you don't want to use this, if you want to use some sort of other fabric, all you need to do is cut yourself some strips from your fabric. I would cut them on the bias because it's easier, and you would just twist it round it instead of folding it over like this. I'm going to show you how to finish it in a minute. This is only a short one this time. Making sure as you go around that you don't miss either side. It is really important that you keep your stitching central, because it gives you a nice finish for one thing. And I'm just looking at this actually, and that's not stitching properly on the back. I think it's come out of its thing. Oh, it'll be all right. Okay, so to finish it, because like I said, I'm only going to do a little short one this time. So cut this near to where you want to finish. Okay, so we've taken that away. We've now finished with it. And now we're just left with a little stubby bit of it there and our spaghetti. And what we're going to do is bring that in as we did before, but then we're going to bring the bowl into the spaghetti. I hope that makes sense. So you see, can you see there's still the core there, but the bowl is going to sit in the spaghetti to finish it off. And what I like to do could do with a better pair of scissors really, because these are rubbish, is turn the end. Now I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but what I'm going to do is the end that's on there, I'm opening out, I'm going to turn that in, then this will be folded over so you get that nice finish. Okay, it is fiddly, I'm not going to deny it, because it does keep wanting to curl up and over, but I don't have a problem with it wanting to do that. And then I need to make sure that that is in there as that comes over. So you end up with a sort of tapered finish. Okay, and there we have our little bowl. Now to finish that completely, because you can see this edge here is just come up a little bit, but to finish that completely, all I've done on this one, as you can see, is just added, I've just added some bias binding around the top, which finishes the top of your bowl. Okay, and there's the join. And that's it. That's how you make these lovely little bowls. Big or small, however you want to make them. It's up to you. I hope you enjoyed that. And thank you, whoever's been watching along with Sandra, because I know there is somebody else there because it's telling me. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like Julie Cole, is that you? Hopefully. I hope to see you all soon. If I don't see you before Christmas, Sandra, have a lovely Christmas and thank you for watching. But I will be going live again in between now and Christmas, of course, on a Tuesday evening. I'm thinking next week I might do something messy. So thank you.